सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। In our study of this beautiful Prashna, which is called Rudra Prashna, there are various samhitas which are called by the name Prashna. One of the other famous ones is also known as Aruna Prashna, and it is in this famous Aruna Prashna that we come across such subtler details that it is mind-boggling, that we have the exact dimension of earth, its size, its weight, its distance from moon, the size of moon, and the distance between earth and sun and moon and sun. It's a very beautiful description. So, when this word Prashna is used in today's language, you can say that it is the FAQs, frequently asked questions. So, when you go through the frequently asked questions, it is not that it is a collection of questions, but it is a collection of the answers for all these frequently asked questions. So, everything that we need to know about Lord Shiva is given in the Rudra Prashna, and that is the reason why it is called Prashna. And in our effort, we have started with the Laghu Nyasa. We saw the meaning of what Nyasa means. Nyasa has two meanings. One is to renounce. So, we understand that word because it is very popularly used that way. Sannyasa, sannyasa, samyak nyasa. Renouncing everything samyak, completely. The other meaning of this word nyasa is to invoke completely. So, in the first portion of this Rudram, we have the invocation wherein Rudro bhutva Rudram archayet arudraha Rudram ma archayet. The idea is, when we sit for the upasana, it is to raise ourselves beyond the jada buddhi, asatya buddhi. Now, what is the jada buddhi? Jada buddhi is that I am this individual, this body, mind and intellect, this ego, this ahankara, which is performing the puja because of various situational problems. Oh Lord, I am limited, give me unlimited boons. That would be called the Sakama Puja. It would not be called or recognized as Upasana. Upasana is that beautiful technique by which the individual focuses on raising oneself above these limitations to become one with, to come closer to that Paramatma as close as possible. That is the meaning of Upasana. Upa asana. Upa meaning ati samipe, the closest. Asana being firmly abiding in. So, the process that has been taught is as you think, so you become. We have been thinking that it is that I am limited, therefore I am doing the upasana, but the very premise of this upasana is that I am unlimited. I am that Satchidananda. And in order to instill that bhavana, there is this huge process, and this is Laghunyasa, meaning the shorter version of it. Mahanyasa, the longer version of invoking various deities, various forms of this divine into various aspects of my limbs, thereby recognizing myself as something other than this body, mind and intellect. Like in Kenopanishad it comes, Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha kena prana prathama praiti yuktaha Keneshitam vacham imam vadanti. So, when in this first opening dialogue, the student asks, as if that student was waiting eagerly for the Guru. As soon as he found that moment, he starts, his elaborate questions. And the questions are very precise. Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha. I have seen that this mind and the organs of perception, organs of action, the intellect, they seem to be functional only because of something that which is there inside. What is it? Kena. Prompted by whom do all these functions in their individual fields? The absence of which it is just a dead carcass. So, that divinity has to be understood and instilled step by step. So, that instilling process in the Laghunyasa is very beautiful, wherein we have seen it, wherein every indriya, the invocation is Agnirme vachishritah Vagradhaye hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani. The very invocation, the beginning of this entire upasana starts from aham amrite amritam brahmani. That this which is immortal is nothing but Brahman. Into this let all these invoked deities merge into. That is the platform from where everything begins forth from. Reaffirming the mind again and again onto that point with the abhyasa of each indriya, then the process of this Rudra Prashna starts. Rudra has got two aspects. Aghorebhyo taghorebhyo ghora ghoratarebhyah. There are these two aspects. Yeah, there is the next part of the mantra also, but I am stopping right here. It is like in Balavihar, like yesterday also in the program, I said we will chant these three shlokas, Sahana Vavatu, then we will chant Guru Brahma, and then Vakratunda Mahakaya. And then most of them were our Balavihar kids in the before they get onto the stage, and there was no mic. And these are all kids, you saw them doing the Vedic chanting yesterday. These were the kids with their loud voices. So I started Vakratunda Mahakaya. I am saying Shanti, 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 but it is not reaching out to the entire because they have already picked up, because according to our folder, after Vakratunda Mahakaya starts Saraswati Namaste, they started with that. So I had to finally raise my hands and gather their attention and say, stop. So similarly, Aghorebhyo Sarvebhya Sarva Sarva, this is the mantra, yes, but we will take the first portion only. So there are these two forms of Rudra Bhagavan or Bhagavan Shiva. One is the Ghora and the other one is Aghora. One is Saumya, whereas the other one is Rudra. Why does Bhagavan have to have anger? Because in the very first mantra as we start, as I have already mentioned last time as well, that the Veda Bhasha is always recognized as mantra. They are not recognized or they are not referred to as shloka. Shloka comes in the Smriti Itihasa Purana, not in the Veda. So, the mantra portion, the very first shloka, as first mantra as it starts with the invocation wherein Rudra Bhagavan is referred to as Manyave Utota Ishave Namaha. Manyu, the angered form. It is like a child going in front of the parent, knowing very well that the child has not done what the child has to be doing. Therefore, there is a butterfly in their stomach and they see, Dad, Mom, don't be angry with me, okay? Please. And then the moment the child opens up, don't look me at like that, okay? Whoa, what am I doing? Your look, it is different. So the child has done something wrong and then now wants the good grace and has these stipulations all around. What happened to my look? No, it is no more a look. You are glaring at me. Okay, you go on. No, you have to promise first that you will not scream at me. What happened? See, you are already screaming. So, as the child wants that promissory note, that, I have done something or not done something for which you will be angry at me. So, don't shower your Rudra Rupa on me right now. So, the very first mantra says that the seeker who has come, he is confessing that there are many things that I should have done. In that beautiful shloka of Karacharana Kritam Va, there is this portion wherein it says, Vihitam avihitam va, sarvam etat kshamasva. Vihitam avihitam. I have done both kinds. That which ought to be done, I did not do. That which ought not to be done, I have done. But I recognize that in both accounts I have done something wrong. I know I am worthy of being punished. And now that I have recognized, I seek that opportunity to change myself. He is not asking to change his experience, he is not asking to change the karma phala. He is saying, I am trying to build that courage to face what I have done. Bless me so that I have that courage, instead of you being angry at me. Now, once that seeker reaches there and confesses in the very first mantra, and with the second mantra he says that now that I have confessed, dil ka bhar halka ho gaya. I have dumped all that I had to say right at your feet. Now when I look at you, see, even in the earlier one, I thought you were holding the bow and arrow at me. Therefore, I thought you were angry. Now that I have unburdened, I have cleared my vision, now that I look at you, the same stance of yours doesn't look threatening, doesn't look Manyu Rupa, Ghora Rupa. It looks Aghora Rupa, it looks Saumya Rupa, because I am feeling assured that the bow and arrow that you have picked is to actually protect me rather than to punish me. So, there in the second mantra he says that Shiva Sharavyaya Tavataya no Rudram Nudaya. Now that I see that you are trying to protect me, O God, Asmakam, for us all, Mrudaya, may you bless us to have that joy and peace in our life. But when does that change occur? Not that the world has changed, not that the stance has changed. It is my ability to unburden myself and look at myself without guilt. And in that guiltless environment, a seeker is born. And that seeker, looking at the Lord, says, "Oh God, I was thinking that you are going to punish me. This is protecting me. Thank you." See, even to get in touch with that reality, that there is this God who is trying to protect you, the amount of relief and sense of fearlessness that dwells within, it immediately gives that peace. And then continuing, he says that you are this beautiful form which is worthy of worship. Girisha Acha Vadamasi. Acha Vadamasi. With all these noble mantras, I am planning to pray your glorious form. And this prayer is not for pleasing the Lord, as many understand. Like Vishnu Sahasranama, I got an email saying, "Swamiji, why do we have to chant the name of the Lord?" Wherein in the initial portion, it is said, "Vishnoho Prityartham." Why should the Lord be pleased? Why should he be expecting that pleasing thing from us? It is not for pleasing the Lord, but it is for the pleasure of the Lord, so that by repeating these things, yat bhavam tat bhavati, as I think, so I become. So with these words, when I am saying it, when I am repeating these glories of yours, I am actually meditating on the entire form of yours, entire guna of yours, so that my mind gets fixed in that bhava. Thus, having said, we have come to the portion wherein seventh mantra. In the seventh mantra, Rudra Prashna says, repeat after me, "Asau yastamro aruna uta babhrusu mangalaha ye chemagam Rudra abhito dikshu shrita sahasrasho vaishagam heda imahe." "Asau yastamro aruna uta babhrusu mangalaha ye chemagam Rudra abhito dikshu shrita sahasrasho vaishagam heda imahe." So this is the mantra that we are going to chant, or we are going to learn today. This particular mantra talks about Bhagavan Rudra, Lord Shiva, in the form of the solar orb, in the form of the sun. This particular mantra and the next one, the dhyana shloka is the same one. This dhyana shloka, the rishi is Matruvan Rishi, and the Chanda is Shatpada Jagati Chanda. Shatpada Jagati Chanda. And the Devata is Aditya Rupi Ishvaraha. And what does the meditation or the dhyana shloka say? Mandalantargatam hiranmayam bhrajamanam vapusham shuchismitam chandadhiditi diditim akhandita dyuti chintayen muni sahasra sevitam. Chintayen, let us meditate on this form of the Lord. And what is the form of the Lord? Mandalantargatam hiranmayam bhrajamana vapusham shuchismitam. That Lord who is in the form of Jyoti, the orb, the one who is glowing in a golden hue. Bhrajamanam hiranyam. And how is he? Shuchismitam. Shuchismitam, the one who is pure, the spotless, and smitam, smiling. The one who has these fierce rays, and that radiance which is akhanda dyuti. Akhanda dyuti, to just make it stand different from the other glowing objects up there. The other glowing objects up there, like the nakshatra, the stars, they are khanda dyuti. Stars are also known as khanda dyuti because they seem to be blinking. They don't have these continuous flowing light. But whereas Surya, Bhagavan Surya has the akhanda dyuti, constant rays of blazing sunshine or light. And the one who is meditated upon by thousands and thousands of rishis, sahasra sevitam, by many he has been constantly meditated upon, worshipped. And growing up in our Vedic heritage, every student is introduced to the Sandhya Vandana, which is the direct worship of Bhagavan Surya. And that Bhagavan Surya is here recognized as nothing other than Bhagavan Shiva in his visible format, perceivable form. Now this particular mantra, these two mantras along with this dhyana shloka, those who chant this mantra along with the dhyana shloka for 16 days, along with a process called Krichracharana, I will explain what Krichracharana is in a short while, they gain the ability to bring rains even when it is not a conducive environment. See, we say that the rains are supposed to be Varuna Deva, rain gods. But rain god is also depending on Surya for rain. Without the help of Surya, the rain god is not, he will not be able to fill his tanks, which he cannot rain. So Surya is the direct form of God even for the rains. Now, Krichracharana, according to the Manusmriti, is a process of purification. There are 6 things. These 6 things are mixed, and for one day you drink this particular concoction, and after that purification process is done, the next day you do the upavasa. So one such set is called Krichra-charana. Krichra-acharana. The process of observing Krichra-charana. Especially when there are these important moments of life where there is a samskara being done. It was a practice to observe this Krichra-charana as a common practice. Now it has gone only in very specific, like just before taking the entire process of our, when we were being given sannyasa. This was one of the processes. So what does it involve? This is otherwise known as Go Panchakam. Go Panchakam, Go Mutram, Gomayam, Kshiram, Dhadi, Sarpihi, Kushodakam, Ekaratra Upavasascha, Krichram, Santapanam Smritam. In the Manusmriti, this is given. What is it? These are the 5 Go Panchaka. See, the cow and its byproducts are considered as the most sacred, most medicinal in the act of purification. So, in the act of purification, Go Mutra, the urine of the cow, Gomaya, which is the cow dung, Kshiram, the milk, Dadhi, the curds, Sarpihi is the ghee, and then Kushodakam, the kusha grass, darbha grass soaked in water. That water is taken. Into that water all these elements are added and you drink that the first day. The next day you observe Upavasa. Then start this 16 days of chanting, and the one who does this process acquires the siddhi of invoking rains, even if it is not a conducive environment. That is the mantra phala. Going forward with the mantra. Asau yastamro aruna uta babrussu mangalaha ye chemagam rudra abhito dikshu shrita sahasrasho vaishagam heda imahe. See, whenever this dhyana shloka and the phala shruti, rishi and other things are given, these are for specific purposes, that the same mantra can be used in a different combination as a mantra for certain siddhis. So, the sakama also is given a scope, but here we are focusing on the adhyatmika drishti. That is what I had made that very clear in the beginning, that though we will be talking about these dhyana shlokas and the phala shruti, our main focus would be that we would be thinking or we would be analyzing this from the adhyatmika drishti only. Because some of the processes wherein if you have to do the various yagnas and the other observing things that one has to do once in a lifetime, once in 4 months, once in 1 month, none of us are doing it these days. So, I am not trying to force or pursue that particular angle. So, I will be focusing only on the adhyatmika chintana. Asau, asau, this, yaha, who, tamraha, tamra varnaha. Tamraha means that which is having the tamra varna. Tamra is copper, that reddish, copper reddish hue. Arunaha, arunaha is light red in color. Arunaha, uta, and then babruhu, bright golden hue, and the one who is sumangalaha. Sumangalaha, the most auspicious. Yecha rudraha, and these other rudras, ima abhitaha dikshuhu shritaha. Abhitaha, from all sides, Dikshuhu dishaha, all different directions. Shritaha ashritaha, they are resorted to. Sahasrashaha esham, and there are thousands of these. Esham, of these, there are thousands of them. Heda imahe, Heda ava imahe, because in the mantra we saw there is one ava. Vaishagam, so that Vaishagam is ava esham, so that ava is used with imahe, that will make a complete sense. Sahasrashaha esham heda imahe, of these thousands of them who are angered. Heda means to be angered. Imahe, in order to please them, avemahe means in order to please them we are, or pacify them, we are chanting these mantras. Now, since I gave the word meaning, it may seem very disconnected. Let me connect all these words together. The same Lord Ishvara who was praised in the earlier mantras is the sun verily right in front of us, who when arises in the horizon, even before he comes, that is the greatness, right? Even before the sun comes into the horizon, the darkness is already dispelled. You don't see the sun, but the darkness is already gone. So, as the sun hits the horizon, so what is the first form of the color that we see? It's that deep red color, tamra varna. It's like the ball of fire, tamra varna. And there I read another meaning, but tamra is not that color. So it says in the Rasayana Shastra, it is said that when each one of these metals are put to this furnace, they glow with different color. The gold glows in a different color, the iron glows in a different color, whereas the copper glows with that reddish, deep reddish color, tamra varna. So, as the sun is about to rise, I mean just when it is rising, the dawn time, the ball of fire, tamra varna. Then when it raises a little further up, then it is aruna. Aruna, that pleasant light red color, aruna. And then after that, thereafter, as the sun rises further, it starts gathering that golden, bright golden hue, as if the gold was burning in a furnace, that kind of a color. That is called babruhu. So, with that color, the sun comes out. So, this sun who comes out in these different forms is called Sumangalaha. Why is he called Sumangalaha? For one thing, even before he comes, he dispels the darkness. Second, as he comes, all the fog and the mist is, it melts down, and it brings in life to the living beings. To all those who are living, it brings in life force. Babruhu Sumangalaha, the one who brings in auspiciousness. See, it happens to most of us. When the sun is really there, hot, blazing for a while, we keep counting 100 days of 105 plus. Last summer we were counting, right? And then one day it suddenly rains. In Texas it rains because it must be a depression somewhere else. Otherwise there is no rain here. So it rains. First day of rain, relief. It continues the second day. They say, chalo, acha hai. We have been having drought for a while, the tanks will fill up, the lakes will fill up. Third day also rains. Oh my God, this is almost feeling like we are living in Seattle. Once when I flew into Seattle, it was a very distinct experience. As we were on 30,000 feet up there in the flight, we saw the sun. As we were lowering down to land, we saw the clouds, and went in, it was all rains. So 6 days I was there, all 6 days it was cloudy, and the moment we lifted off, again went to that height, we saw sun again. So for Seattle people, if they have to see sun, they have to raise about 30,000 feet to look at him and then get back. Because after a certain while, when you don't see the sun, it feels very gloomy. And the moment the sun comes back, as if life has come back. It brings that auspiciousness. Sumangalaha. And then we praise that very Lord to pacify the angers of all these Rudras that are covering, enveloping Ima, Bhumi, the earth, from all directions. The various deities that are there, Devatas, Chandra, Surya, Vayu, Varuna, all these Devatas, may they be pleased, so that that which is spread all in all directions of this earth, instead of we being the ones facing the wrath of these gods, let us have the blessings of these gods. I know. Still, after the word meaning and the complete meaning, it seems, where is this mantra going? Where is the connecting dots? In the last mantra, we saw that he, the Rudra, is the one who is dwelling in as all the Devatas. So that Devatas, those Devatas who are there all around, what are they doing? They are the karma phala data. They have been assigned to give us the results of our actions. The same logic as the first mantra that we saw. Why do they look like they are angry? See, the anger is not there, they are just doing their job. The anger is because of what I am going through. I feel that the gods are, the heavens are not, looking at me favorably. We use that quite often, right? I wish the heavens look at me or grace upon me with a favorable eye. So, but when I am going through bad times, we say that everything is going south, everything is going down. The gods are not probably pleased by me. So the seeker here, he says that may all these Devatas bless us. Now, these Devatas, are they looking there to constantly, hit the jivas? No, they are not vindictive in their nature. They give the results according to what we give in input. If it is according to the Shastra, according to the prescribed way of life, we get the blessings. If it is not in accordance with the Shastra, then they seem to be in anger. So this is one way of looking at the meaning of the mantra. But there was another great Mahatma who had written another beautiful commentary. His name is Vishnu Suri. Because we don't have the other commentators who have commented on Chamakam and the other parts of Taittiriya Samhita. It is Vishnu Suri who has commented and Shayanacharya, who has commented on the entire portion, and Bhattavaskara. So, these three people have commented. So, his commentary throws in more light for us to understand it better. So, he says that he draws a logic. He says that Paramatma, whose Abhinna Shakti is Prakriti, is Maya. Maya essentially is nothing but sattvic in nature. But when that Maya Shakti is used into action, her other two aspects of gunas come into picture, the Rajasic and Tamasic. With the Rajasic, in Gurudev's words, avarana, non-apprehension, avarana, non-apprehension happens. Because of that avarana, non-apprehension, what happens? Vikshepa, misapprehension happens. And no Vedanta class goes without the example of rope and the snake. Essentially, it is nothing but rope. But because of that darkness, because of the light being in a shaded, secluded part, it was already dark, there was a little fear inside, and with all this, you enter in there and you see this little thing moving. It was windy also, you saw snake. And your son, who was probably walking couple of feet away from you, as soon as I heard the snake. The children who grow up here have a very good knowledge of what snakes are, like what varieties, what brands. And they get inspired. Instead of running away, they run into. Pulls out their smartphone, and in their app they turn on the light and then flashes it. There is a snake. I saw it there. Dad, that is nothing but a rope. But I saw one. What happened there was avarana. Avarana, non-apprehension, not recognizing the vastu as is. And on that non-apprehended vastu, whatever was the quick, convenient conclusion that we could project, vikshepa, projected. What did we project? We projected the snake onto it. Sometimes when you are coming to these Vedantic classes for a long time, the example can turn other way around. That you have gone for a walk, you see a snake, and then you conclude, this must be a rope. And then you get down, bend down to pick it up, just to confirm, and suddenly there also what happened? Nija vastu jnana, Nija vastu swarupa was not recognized. You assumed it was a rope, because that was the projection, because of the Vedantic lectures. In either cases, the Rajoguna of Maya expresses as avarana, and the Tamoguna expresses as vikshepa, projection. And we are deep into this projections. Now, Paramatma, who is abhinna, unseparatable from his Shakti, if that Paramatma has to be reached, one has to get beyond, one has to work his way around these two gunas of tamasic and rajasic nature. That is why the promotion in Bhagavad Gita or various Vedantic scriptures is grow from tamasic to rajasic, rajasic to sattvic. A dull mind has to be inspired for some return of investment. Something which entices them to get out of that tamasic nature. Until then, that mind which was tamasic is shown, such beautiful glory. Now, if you want that glory, which happens quite often, the marketing agents. Do you know where their seminars are usually? Las Vegas. So you take them to Las Vegas or the grandeur of that strip there, and you are accommodated in a 5-star and all the treatment is given, and you just joined and your eyes are sparkled up. Wow. How often do we have these meetings? You were a rookie, therefore you have been brought here for the training. We usually have this 6 months once, and if you have to come here, this is the target. You achieve these targets, and those who excel, the top 10%, get to come here. Then you slog. Why? The perks are enticing. And that can only hold the chant for once, maybe twice. Then that Rajasic mind, which is now running after these various results, has to now morph itself, change itself towards the Sattvikata. Because the more and more we get closer to this Sattvic aspect, we are that closer to Paramatma. We are that closer because that Sattvic Prakriti is the essential nature of Maya, and being there, one can easily leap forward into that divinity. So, all these who are, these thousands of Rudras that were talked about, what are they? They are the Jivas. And these Jivas are nothing but the same Paramatma in this format who have not remembered their own true nature. Therefore, where are they? They are in the avidya. What does avidya mean? Heda tikshnatvam avidyayutatvam. They are the very embodiment of avidya. Papoham, papakarmoham, papatma, papasambhava. Bhagavan says, I have different interpretations of what Bhagavan. On one hand, he says, stop, I have heard it enough. Can you say something new? How long will you keep repeating the same Jivatva? But Lord, I am so beaten up from all directions. He says, your avidya is the karana for that. That is the heda. That is the restlessness within. Now, such one, when becomes very sincere, comes to the ashraya of a guru. What does the guru give? He gives the message of Tattvamasi. This knowledge of Tattvamasi, when it is given to the student, and that student recognizes that glowing truth within, and that is called the Babruhu. Babruhu, the golden hue of cognition of the core within. Babruhu. And to realize this on our own, our own karma and our own karma phalas become such impediments in our spiritual path. Therefore, the prayers that are given here are to appease that Lord, so that we the Rudras, we the Jivatmas, who have forgotten our own true nature, get beyond this avidya to firmly abide in that Paramatma. Therefore, these prayers are given. And sun is recognized as the very rasa or the sara of this entire universe. Saramayam Jagat. This is what Chandogya Upanishad says. And in the Sandhya Vandana also. I am itching to ask, but I will stop. But if you recognize the mantra, then it is fine. Surya Atma Jagataha Tatastushaha. The sun is the very self of this entire world, whether it is movable or immovable. So, sun is one of the 8 forms of Rudra. Why is that sun recognized as the very expressing form of Bhagavan? Because he is one of the 8 forms that Bhagavan takes in the Pralaya Kala. One of the forms is the Rudra, and one of the forms is the sun. The Prachanda Agni of the sun, the entire cosmos collapses back into its unmanifest form. Therefore, the sun is used here as the very representation of that Paramatma. Is it? The Upanishads also say, Brahmatan Mangalam Param, that Brahman is the most auspicious or the auspicious. Brahman cannot be anything other than auspiciousness. So, that auspicious Brahman who is expressing as the sun is invoked as that Paramatma, so that I who have been in the clutches of this Maya, clutches of this avidya, may I get out of this restlessness of my Jivatva. O Lord, may you bless me to walk this path towards you. See, this whole mantra has different standpoints, various standpoints of angles to understand from. See, asau, what does asau mean? Asau means this. See, when do we refer to something or as this or that? This represents the immediate nature of it. That represents a gap. It's a point of reference again. We can always refer to the road Davenport as this or that, depending on what is the referential point. If I say this hall, then that road becomes that. If I am referring to the entire city, and with that respect, when I refer to this road, right here, earlier statement it was that road, now it becomes this very road. So, this always shows that proximity. This always refers to as to the closeness, asau. And the greatness of our Vedic literature is that whenever we talk about the Paramatma Tattva or Atma Tattva or Dharma Tattva, or for that matter any task that we talk about, that which is abstract. The beauty of our Upanishads, beauty of the Vedic literature is that they always take into account that which is already perceivable, that which is already a part of the experience. Through that perceivable and through that which has been experienced, they take that individual's mind through the known to the unknown. Start from the other way around, start from the unknown to the known, it becomes a very difficult process. And another beautiful part of it is asau. Asau meaning this very sun. This very sun, asau. Now, how is this? This can be always used with various, nipata or particles here in this mantra. Before I go to the next part of the logic, the dharma of the buddhi, as Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji puts it, he says, buddhehe dharmam anagrahaha. Anagrahaha, buddhi perceives. Our buddhi is very trained, adept in holding on to that which it deems as truth. That which the buddhi does not deem as truth, the buddhi doesn't hold on to it. Depending on where we are at our maturity level, what we hold on to is because we think it is truth at that given point in time. Now, as we grow, as we mature, that gets enhanced, that keeps changing. But at that point, why do you do what you are doing? Because I am convinced. Sometimes the parents bring their children and they say, Swamiji, the influences outside are so bad that I am worried of the next generation, what will happen to them. नहीं, बाहर का जो हवा है अच्छा नहीं है. When they say हवा, they are not talking about the vachyartha, they are talking about lakshyartha. The outside environment is not that conducive. Why do you say so? It almost feels like they are slipping out of our hands. What should we do? See, instead of trying to forcefully change them, which happens, you might recognize these dialogues because they are often repeated dialogues. Sometimes we just shut them up with our glare, with our decibel level. Now, decibel level and it is increased is not a logical way of approaching the situation. You shout, and sometimes in that anger we also say, if you are living under this roof, you will do what I say so. A typical Hindi dialogue would be, जब तक मैं जी रहा हूं वही करना पड़ेगा जो मैं बोलूंगा, मेरे मरने के बाद जो चाहे कर लो. You would do as I am telling you to do as long as I am alive. Once I am dead, then you can do whatever you feel like. These are some dialogues that you in the heated moment you see. Or if that also doesn't work, you got it right. Now, these are not the methods to really bring in that samskara. If you look at the basic idea as to why they are going away or slipping away, they are not slipping away because they want to challenge what the scriptures are saying or what our heritage is saying, what our culture is saying, but in their buddhi there is a conviction built, and that which we are saying is not matching with their conviction, Because we cannot do anything unless we are convinced of it. Forcefully, maybe once, twice, and then it gets back to its own normal path. Why? I will do what I am convinced of. Now, where the confusion comes, let me take an example that will make it clearer. We say that Satyameva Jayate, truth alone wins. So, when we say this, always say the truth. Now, the child finds it such a hypocritical statement for various standpoints. To start with, when I say it, it is not truth. When you say it, it is truth. So, truth is always depending on the muscle power of convenience. That is what the child is getting convinced of. So, right in front of the kid, you pick up the phone, you do not want to talk to that individual, you say, I am busy, and you cut the phone. The child is thinking. He is confused again, his parameters are all changing. Because when the child is watching the TV and claims to be busy, you whack some sense into that kid. And now when you get the phone call and all that you are doing as an adult or a parent is watching that TV, and you claim yourself to be busy, acha, wish I can be a grown up as soon as possible. Why? I can define, redefine, break the definition of what busy means. He sees that hypocrisy right there. And what do we expect them to do? Tell them that truth always wins, stick by truth. This is what even our scriptures have said. Those who get induced with the neo-spirituality, they get to this nasty habit of quoting the scriptures whether it is necessary or not. And they always talk from the standpoint of Satchidananda. So, the scriptures become a joke in front of these kids. See, when the statement is said Satyameva Jayate in our scriptures, the other part of the mantra also has to be understood. Satyameva Jayate Nanrutam Satyena Pantha Vitate Devayana. Truth alone can be victorious, not untruthfulness. Why? Satyena Pantha Vitata Devayana. Yana, path. Devayana, the divine path. See the difference between Devas and Asuras. Deva means Dyotanat because it is of the illumining nature. The illumination is because of the clarity, and that clarity restores peace, joy and harmony. So, what this mantra actually means, stick by the truth, you will be blessed with peace, joy and harmony in your life. You have the other path as well. The other path also very clearly says, but we need instant results. So, we deviate from this, and in this deviation, what are we standing up for? Our own conviction as adults is that the scriptures say one thing, so the scriptures are only for listening. For doing, you have to have a different standard. Swamiji, all that you speak is good for hearing only. When I go back into my cubicle, this cannot be applied. So, the scriptures say one thing and our convictions are different, and these convictions though cannot be voiced, the child is reading them, perceiving them. So the child himself sees the discrepancy. You say that our rich Vedic heritage and all the values, all the morals. Parents, do you even understand? The child is asking. Parents, do you even understand that what you are saying you believe in and what you are convinced of, there is a huge gap? Right in your life when it is not applicable, why are you forcing those things into my life? Because they are not applicable anyway. So let me find my own path. Because buddhi, how does it work? It grasps only that which it is believing at that moment to be truth. Buddhehe dharmaha anagrahaha. And that which is forced onto it, which you are not convinced of, cannot stick inside. Which comes back to our basic question many times that we ask. That we listen, we feel inspired, why don't we see change in our lives? Now leave children aside. Even in our own lives, when we want to be sincere, when we want to apply this, why don't we find it? Because what we are listening and what we are convinced of, there is like a 180 degrees of difference. Sometimes when I say it really bluntly, people feel hurt. Swamiji, your talk or lecture on Bhagavad Gita is very curt, blunt, caustic. It is not that it is meant to be caustic. It is because what I am convinced of and what the scripture is saying, there is a huge gap. Buddhi does not accept that. Now, when the buddhi does not accept it, what do? We try build that clarity and conviction thereof. See, earlier, when the Gurukula system was there, these scriptures were introduced to them for about 20-25 years. That it got ingrained into their system that this is the higher level of the value system, that there are no conveniences, there are no gray areas in it that I have to live up to. And once you follow that, you are promised of one thing for sure, that there will be peace, there will be joy, there will be harmony in life. You may not have wealth, you may not have name, you may not have fame, you may not have various of these things, you may be having them in a lesser amount. But definitely what you will cherish is that peace, joy and harmony in your life. But ourselves, we are not convinced of it. And what I want is all the other things. I actually don't care for peace and joy at this moment, baad mein dekhenge. So I am also pursuing only that, but when I say that, the scriptures say this, there is a discrepancy. I keep asking this question. How many years does it take for somebody to become a doctor? 8 years, he said. 8 years is an incomplete answer, I would say. Start from kindergarten, no, pre-K. From pre-K to 12th grade, how many years? 14 years. Then the undergrad, 4 years, you please keep adding it, 18, plus another 4 years of med school, 22, plus 3 years of residency, 25, 2 years fellowship, 3 years maybe, another 2 years after that residency. So by the time you are done, a license to whatever, blank. You have already spent about 28-30 years. By that time you are already 34-35. You have spent half of your life into that particular field to be an expert in that particular field, materially speaking. When the scriptures are saying, and what we do is we learn couple of shlokas, couple of mantras, couple of commentaries we go through, dharmagnaha aham, I am the very dharmatma. See, that conviction has to be changed. And what should be the conviction? The conviction that has to be built in is that we are searching for that Paramatma. If we cannot see that Paramatma in that which can be perceived right now, can we see that Paramatma which is unperceivable? That which is all around me, if I cannot perceive Paramatma in that, can I perceive that Paramatma which I have no idea? I don't even have the weirdest configuration or imagination of that Paramatma, who, what or where. Asau, all that which I see. All this, what is it? Sumangalaha. What should be the conviction built in? That all that I am perceiving is Sumangalaha, the most auspicious. And then we go on and this world is so dirty, you know. As soon as you get a chance, get out of this world. World is the crooked place. I met a person once, when he heard that I was into this particular field, and he was a social worker. And his statement in Hindi was, दुनिया कुत्ते के दुम की जैसी है, कभी सीधा नहीं कर सकते. The world is like a dog's tail. It is always crooked. You can never straighten it. Don't waste your life into this effort. I told him that day very clearly. My effort, if the world benefits, is a bonus. I am working so that I benefit myself first. Focusing on my sadhana to grow and improve. If in that growth it helps, it happens to help others, that is a byproduct. That is not the priority or focus. Because the world outside, Sumangala, not just Mangalaha, Sumangalaha. Asau yastam ro aruna uta babrus Sumangalaha. That which is, do we perceive it as Sumangalaha? How is it? It is in its various shades and forms and attributes. Various forms. Tamra, Aruna, Babruhu. Various forms and shades that it is in. All these various forms, shades and types that we come across, do we have the mental aptitude, the conviction in the buddhi to perceive it as divine? Because goodness and badness is purely on the basis of intellectual, the mind's likes and dislikes. If I like something, it is good. If I don't like something, it is bad. There are 90,000 families in Dallas, Indians. Of the 90,000 families, give and take, can we say roughly 45,000 families are Hindu? It can be more than that. I am just making a rough study right now. 45,000 at least. Of those 45,000, and this whole event of understanding Rudram and its beauty, it has been advertised, it has been put in the radio, the emails and everything, every media is covered. How many finally come? Only blessed few. as somebody who is not interested. And you think, oh, there is such a beautiful, there is so much depth in it, and you pull them along. And right from the 6th minute, seriously, I don't know what even I am doing here. Why? You could spend this 1.5 hours in so many other ways. Why do you have to punish yourself to go through this? For a mind which likes this environment, it is good. For a mind which does not like this environment, it is bad. Again, buddhehe dharmaha anagrahaha. That which is not convinced of, that the conviction is not born there, that this is something which is absolutely good, it will not be indulging in it. Do we even have the courage to change that conviction? To not look at the world from the perspective of good and bad? We are very good at it. One day I was going through a grocery store to pick up something late at night. K. Rogers, Kroger's. The first time I came, that is how I read it. Because K is a big letter and the rest of it is small letters. So I read it as K. Rogers. So I went there, and people who are from here, they have this knack to start a conversation even if they don't know somebody. So as I was trying to search for the thing that I wanted, I think it was for some baking or something. I got a sudden inspiration to bake something, and one ingredient was missing. So I was searching for it in that aisle. So the guy was busy, they had that little labeling gun. So he was labeling it. So I was searching for it. I didn't want to disturb him. He was busy working. So he looked and I said, searching for something? I said, yeah, this particular. So he picked up 3-4 packets of it in his hand, and as he was doing it, he was walking towards me. And he said, okay, right there behind that. So I said, this job sucks. And he was doing it. I said, you at least get paid for it. Because the most of us do the same thing, but we don't get paid for it. I said, come again, what do you mean? I said, aren't we all busy in this world trying to look at everything and labeling everything? Okay, this is good, this is bad, this person is good, this person is bad, this environment is good, this environment is bad, this weather is good, this weather is bad, the food is good, food is bad. Constant labeling, constant calculation of labeling everything around. Do we have the courage to get out of that stupidity of labeling everything around? Nothing is worth the time being spent, whether it is good or bad. Does it really matter at the end of the day? It does not. It's an opinion created. What big deal of an opinion? Instead of wasting the time on creating that, strengthening that particular conviction, do we have the courage? Asau sumangalaha. All these various forms, shapes that are there, they are all that auspicious, that divine. Nothing in this world which is not divine. Not understanding this concept, what do we end up doing? We get to the point wherein abhitaha dikshushrita sahasrasho esham edahimahe. We are busy getting hit by all sides because of our own limitation of perception. Heda imahe. Heda. The limitation or the anger is not created or thrust upon us. What do you call the person who inflicts pain on oneself? Masochists, right? Did I say it right? Okay, masochists. We are professional at that. We limit ourselves and beat ourselves to that limitation and keep crying, why am I like this? See, the job of the scripture, earlier it was called a Shruti. You know why it is called a Shruti? It is called a Shruti, unless it becomes a part and parcel of the experience of the student, it is not a Shruti, it is just Shabda Rashi. It is just collection of words. The entire Guru Shishya Parampara, the job of the Guru is not to just deliver these words, but to enliven them in such a way that that becomes the experience, that becomes the conviction, that becomes the very perspective to look at the world. And what is that perspective? Asau Sumangalaha. That all that which is nothing but Sumangala alone. Everything is auspicious. Every experience that we go through is an auspicious experience. How about some dirty experiences, Swamiji? You are going through it. It is in your hands to make a stepping stone out of it and to grow up. No experience comes by as a waste. However challenging it is, however disturbing it is, depersonalize yourself from the experience, look at it as a moment of education, learning and growth. And you will see clearly, Areva, okay, let me go through this, learn this perspective and move forward. And no experience comes to us unwarranted. It comes to us only to give us that guidance, that push towards that drishti. Asau yastamro aruna uta babrussu mangalaha ye chemagam rudra avito dikshu shrita sahasrasho vaishagam heda imahe. But if that drishti is not gained, abhitaha dikshu shritaha sahasrashaha, it feels like from all different directions I am being pressured in 1001 ways. Heda, all kinds of pressures, pain, misery. Who is creating this situation? I, me, myself. O Lord, I understand this today. Ave Mahe, I worship you to gather that strength to change this conviction so that I can start seeing, I can start perceiving divinity to start with in all those things which I can perceive. Asau yastamro aruna utababrusu mangalaha ye chemagam rudra abhito dikshu shrita sahasrasho vaishagam heda imahe. Similarly, the next mantra is also amazing. Repeat after me. Asavyo vasarpati Nilagrivo Vilohitaha Utainam Gopa Adrishan Udaharyaha Ye, no, don't repeat after me. असव्यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः. As we were chanting it, I just realized that we have just about 3 minutes left. Glad that I noted it, or else I would have gone with the same. We'll continue this tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.